Hello, welcome to Pop Along RC, the RC car channel dedicated to RC car racing, and I am here today, the final round of the Carpet Legends series of 2026, and I'm really looking forward to today because I am doing something a little bit different. I am running the VibeFT for the very first time. What am I expecting from today? Well, to start with, I think it's going to be a bit of a handful. There are going to be some setup tweaks that we need to do to the car to get it running properly, and then we can start looking at performance and see how I compare to how I normally get on. So here it is, the VibeFT. I've just been out for the first round, and the car definitely needs a little bit of work. I was not expecting the car to be amazing on the first run because it literally has just come straight out of the box. So the first couple of laps I was trying to sort out the endpoint adjust and the dual rates and just try and trim it up so it's going in a straight line. The car got set up on the for ride height and droop and bits and bobs earlier on today before I went out, but there are a few things that we definitely need to work on throughout the day to get this car a little bit more competitive on the track. But for a first outing, it's not bad at all. Pace wise on the straight with the control gearing, it is equally matched with all the other cars going down the straight. When I get to the turns is where the problems start to occur. So at the moment what I've got is understeer turning left, I've got a bit of oversteer turning right, and the rear wheels are picking up a little bit. So a few little changes to make to get this in the window. If I apply some force at the front here and we've got a little bit of lateral load, you can see that the rear, this wheel is picking up off the ground. Whereas if I go the other way and we laterally load it the other way, that wheel's not coming off the floor, whereas this one is. So we need to sort something out with the droop. So there are a few people I need to say a massive thank you today. Matty for holding the camera, Mr. Chapman for helping me out with setting up the car. Here he is doing the droop for me. And also Duncan, who helped me out as well. So I've made a few changes. I've adjusted the ride height. I've changed to the progressive springs, which are the browns at the front. And I've also made some adjustments to the droop at the back. So the car's a little bit more even now. So let's see how we get on in round two. So round two, car on the track, and as you can see, I've got a lot more front end grip on the car now. Unfortunately, the back end became a little bit too loose, and it was a little bit unpredictable to drive, struggling to keep it in a straight line down the straight, and actually coming through the turns, it was a real handful. The front end was just far too much grip, partly due to the fact I've got brand new tyres on, and when I started to push, it understeers. So what I was doing throughout this this round was pulling over to the side, making the changes on the radio to try and make the car easier to sort of handle and get round. I was playing around with the dual rates, trying to find a balance where I could manage this car and get it round the track. Fortunately for me, it's FTQ qualifying, which means I only need one really good run. And as we went through the car, I did get a few decent laps, but it just wasn't consistent enough to sort of push. My consistency was way down on what I normally expect when I go to a Carpet Legends event. And as you see there, when I start to push, the back end just wants to step out. So to counter the issue that I'm having with rear end grip, I've put on an old set of tyres on the rear, loads of additive on the rears, and at the front I'm not going to put any additive on until the last 5 minutes. So hopefully that should take a little bit of grip away from the front and increase the rear end grip, which means I should have a more balanced car that I can get around the track. So we're going into the next round very soon. As you can see here, the car is starting to get around the track. Now it's a case of me learning the track and sort of dialing in my lines, but I've got a car that seems a little bit more balanced, a little bit more responsive. Okay, so the next round went a little bit better. However, having some issues with the motor. Had brown out, the car cut out and stopped on the straight, stopped a couple of times during the race. So I am going to be adding a capacitor into the receiver in the hope that it can minimise the ESC sort of cutting out, because literally no drive whatsoever. So hopefully we're going to get a clean run before the end of the day. So the car now is really starting to feel much better on the track. The problem that I've got is I just haven't had enough time on track with this car, so I can't really push. And I'm noticing where the car is sort of matched for speed down the straight, but there's a couple of turns that I just cannot get the car turning in. Put the car back on the setup station, and big thanks and a big shout out to Duncan. I did notice in the last round that the car was pulling slightly to the left, and the steering balance between right and left wasn't quite right, so we got it back on the setup station, and we made a few little changes to ensure that the car was balanced. So we're going now into the last round of qualifying, hoping to get the one clean run that I want. In the last round, I was on for a 22 lapper, which is kind of my target for the day. 22 laps, and I should be sort of where I expect to be, really, in the sort of the D final. So that is what I am planning to do for this round. So with every sort of round on the track, the car is getting better and better. I'm able to sort of lean on it a little bit more. I'm still off the racing line at times, missing the apexes, but the car is definitely getting better, and I am a lot more consistent with my driving. Pushing as much as I can, and unfortunately that little clip on the inside curb there, it actually caused the belt to jump off, and that meant I had no drive. So unfortunately, yet another round ruined. Then so qualifying is all done. I'm just waiting now to see where I've qualified for the finals. It's a two-leg final here, so I've got 2 more races still to go. The car is getting better, and I finally got a half-decent run to finish. In terms of performance at the moment, it is probably, I don't know, it's probably about half a second a lap slower, I think, than I would be if I was running the FT9. But it's coming to me. It's still the first outing for the car. If we look back to my first outing with the FT9, again, I think I actually won the bottom final. So maybe I could win the bottom final with the VibeFT as well. Let's see what happens in the finals.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, so Finley out in front. I am in second place, and I just need to keep nice and tight to the back of Finley's car. I think going into qualifying, obviously he qualified faster than me, but I do know I've got pace in this car, and I can match him for speed on the track, but I think I'm going to have to capitalise on his mistakes rather than getting the moves done on the track, because this car, it just doesn't turn in the way I want it to. But there's a little mistake there, and I've managed to nip up the inside. Now I've got pressure behind from Christopher, so I'm out in front. I've got Christopher now in second, and Finley was unlucky to make that little mistake, and that has been quite costly in this race. He's going to have to work hard to catch up. Fortunately for me, from this point onwards, I do start to stretch out my lead, and this round I took the win. However, the better race, which was the second leg for me, I again started in second place, but this time Finley got out really well at the beginning. I got tagged on the first lap, dropped me back to last, and then I must have been nearly half a lap down at one point, and I had to sort of work my way back, which means I had absolutely nothing to lose. I had to put everything in to the car. I pushed, took risks, and I actually managed to get my fastest lap of the day, dropping under a 13-second lap for the first time, which shows that there is some pace in this car. If I could have done those sort of laps in qualifying, I would have been sitting comfortably middle of the D final, maybe even a little bit higher up. So the car did perform really well. It just took a while to get the car dialed in, and I want to say a big shout out to sort of Finley and Christopher actually for keeping me honest on the track. We had some great battles, and I really enjoyed my day at the last round of this year's Carpet Legends, running the VibeFT. I've been running the FT9 all season, and it's been absolutely fantastic. So I look forward to more frontie action. So if you've enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, hit the old ding dong bell, and we will see you again soon.